Today, we're going to turn this partially off-road BMW into a fully off-road BMW. All right, here we are in the shed. Got it on the center stand. This is what we'll be installing today. Wunderlich handguard guards, bar risers, OEM low profile grab bar. Okay, so why am I installing this stuff? The cheap handguards I got were mounted to the bar ends and the handlebar clamp. It wasn't a big deal until I tried to rotate the handlebars up to make it easier to stand on the motorcycle. As you'll see, those brand handguard guards do not allow much rotation with the handlebars. I'm installing the bar risers because after enough miles on the motorcycle standing up, I've determined that I do need bar risers. I'm installing the low profile grab bar because I'm switching to a more dirt bike / enduro rear section of the bike. I no longer need a top case. I never have passengers. And I've previously installed a rally seat for the R1300. After installing this rally seat for the R1300, the grab bar looked utterly ridiculous. And it's also heavy, so I'm trying to cut weight and reduce the length of the motorcycle. Recently, I switched to a rackless luggage setup, a Moscow Moto Reckless 80 set, and I'm going to be using at some point the knoblin attachment so I can attach the rackless system to the back of the new low profile grab bar without having to work with any straps. Now that you're caught up to speed, we can get started. I think I'm going to do the handlebars and the bar risers. And now the bar should roll down. Yep, there we go. So you know you got it out. Old parts are off. List all the risers first so that the handlebars are stiff when I screw these in. Top of this is a 6. Okay, well that's good. Tilt it up. Nice slope. Let's see how that works. So I'm just gonna put all these back in here. I'm not going to label this because it is obvious what is inside of here. Alright, so I'm curious what this is. Cool. Alright, first take off the stupid SOS button. Down there, it's a star bit of some kind. Maybe it's a T25 because everything on this bike is a T25. Yep, Okay, so we're going to remove the old bolt, put in the new one with a spacer. Let's see, T30. Ooh, am I good? Or am I good? Yeah, so this thing is, this screw just doesn't slide through the slot here, so I'm kind of just threading it through. This direction claims it's a hex, but it is a T. Did I mention I hate this thing? All right, T50. All right, progress. These things are on here. They look great. Okay, for the viewers at home, this was the old piece. This piece worked great. You can see it has been heavily used by me. The reason I switched to the Wunderlich version is because of this right here. Because this mounted to the top of the bar clamp, it didn't allow me to rotate the handlebars. I can no longer endorse this, even though it was incredibly cheap. And it is very, very protective. That's not too bad. I have the handlebars pitched forward. And then also, while I was installing these guards, I undid the clamps to install the brackets, and while it was undone, I rotated the levers forward a little bit. All right, as usual, save and label all the parts from the old job. All right, so the final piece is our Enduro tail. Getting rid of this massive heavy beast. I don't really use a top case anymore. Most of my riding is off-road now, and I just don't use this. So cut the weight and make it a little easier to use my Moscow Moto Reckless 80 setup. At the moment, the Reckless 80 is way too wide because it has to float over this thing. So installing the Enduro tail will make sure that the Reckless 80 system will drape a little closer to the body, which is what I'm looking for. You're supposed to get a subframe cover with this. I didn't realize that. I'm going to try to install it without it and see how it looks. I can just tape it off if I need to. Okay, this one is a T40. That one's a T40. And that one's a T40. T40, T40, T40. Sweet. All right, let's unhook this cable here, the central locking cable. All right, so really quick, in order to disconnect the central locking, I believe we need to remove these two bolts here in the back. They are a T25. There we go. Be down there for too long. Let's verify. Yeah, we have. This guy goes all the way to the central locking system, which is a total fucking gimmick. All right. Snips. It's just one here. That's interesting. Okay. Unhooked. I'm sure there's a way to keep these zip ties, but I just don't care. Alrighty. Pieces off. Man, that's heavy. That is heavy. This is going to help out a lot. And remember, guys, if you can, you always put it screws back where you found them. And if you can, always keep your grip tight. Nice. Wow. I mean, I guess it's not surprising, but that is a lot of weight. I really don't like taking this radar module off. Oh, well, let's do it right. Make sure we have everything buttoned up the way we need it to. Okay, let's see if that's good enough to weave. All right, we have another zip tie. And then we have where this splits off the harness.
Hey.
Proof of life. Here, let's get live reaction for. Feel the weight.
What? Nice. That's pretty heavy. You can tell because of my bulging muscles.
Look at her bulging muscle. I think this is looking at you. I'll try that one.
Damn. What's this thing made out of? Styrofoam?
Paper.
That's a very big difference.
All right, nice and clean. Alrighty, so I got the wire pulled out of the radar module that was attached to the central locking system, and I kind of stuffed it in here. So this is getting a little jumbly, but whatever. I'm just going to zip tie this together and tape off the end, and then this will be sealed. Also, pro tip, AirTag hidden in bike. Stuff all this business back in there. Boop. Now we're going to re-tighten this. I don't feel like sitting here all day, so I'm going to use my impact. Looks like we need a little spacer. Okay, let's see how this goes. All right. Cool. Grommets worked. This is at least temporary while I get the actual part. All right, because this is temporary, this hole, I just don't want the elements blowing into it, so I'm just going to put some electrical tape here. I'm not sure how long it'll last. I don't think it's a big deal that this bolt hole is exposed, but this is not taking me too much time, so I'm just going to seal it up real quick. Oh, this is nice. Because these are rubber grommets, they're going to be getting squeezed. So this bolt probably is not, I don't know if you can see it in there, but do not expect this to bottom out. I'm just going to really just tighten this until the piece tells me it's snug. You can see they get in there. All right, cool. And finally, this is, I don't know if it's aluminum or polycarbonate, but it is super light. I'm just worried it's going to crack off or something. When I get it, I'm going to get a knoblin for my Reckless 80. I'm going to put it in here. Yeah, so this part is exposed, which is, not good, obviously, but I don't really care that much at this moment. Again, if you take your back seat off, you're going to see there's dust and grime and weather and sand inside of it anyway. So, all of the electronics in here, when they're actually connected, they're meant to, get junk on them. And so I'm not super worried about it. The important part is that they're taped off. I'm going to have the seat over here. Some stuff is going to get in here. Maybe I'll throw a piece of tape on it or something, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal while I figure out how to actually get the part that's supposed to be covering this, because BMW didn't send the part with this thing, which is my fault. So now you know, if you buy this part, you have to get the skirt in it. And I'll put the part numbers in the description. So because I'm ultra cheap, as I said, I bought this rally seat from AliExpress. I didn't want to buy the BMW one because it was like almost $400. Another company made one from like Italy that was like 200 or something like that. And then this one was like 130, I think. And I think it looks great. The only problem is that this screwdriver here just pops out. You can see these holes don't line up like the OEM. So that's a little annoying. But, for the price, I think it's fine. And again, I like how the color is. So I'll tuck this in here. All right. I don't like this unit. I don't like there's no brake light. I think it looks cheap. I think they'll probably snap off super easily. So that's got to go. But in the meantime, I like this. I think it looks way cleaner. Very happy. All of the parts have been installed. Let's look at everything together and wrap it up. I replaced my handguard guards with new ones from Wunderlich, so I could rotate the handlebars. Some people just actually switch this unit out and put the side lights back in here. I thought about that, but I mean, that's a lot of money. You have to get a turn signals. You have to go through here and rip this harness out, and just plug the lights directly into the module, and just dollars and cents were adding up. So I'm just sticking with these. That's right. One of the reasons I got this model is because I actually do like having the hand guards hold the turn signals. They're way more visible. But obviously the trade-off is you have this formerly disposable, part on a motorcycle, the wind guard, now being a very expensive replacement. So that kind of sucks. But I honestly, I do really like how these go. So anywho, we have these installed. I installed some bar risers. I rotated them up just a hair to whatever the 10-degree mark is. So we're going to go out for a ride tomorrow in the sand and see how it performs. Finally, the last item I installed was this Enduro style grab bar. And you can see in the bottom, it's missing the cover. You're supposed to buy that part alongside of this thing. I didn't know that. But the bike is still usable. I can still, if I ever got luggage again, I can still put it in here even with this low profile Enduro cover. But yeah, super cool rack. And that should just about do it. So thanks for sticking around with me in this installation video. Got any questions about the equipment I used, why I used it, what it costs, what the part numbers are, you can put a comment below. I'll get back to you. If you have any tips for any of the stuff I brought up, let me know that too. That'd be cool. I'm falling in love with the BMW GS community on YouTube. This whole YouTube experiment is new for Krista and I, so we're really enjoying the engagement. We're typically private people. That was just a brief aside to say thank you so much for watching the video. I hope this offered some help and new information, and I hope that you are all having a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Thank you again. Jeez. Okay, well, man. Go, 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 go.